Hello and welcome to our stress questions. We got a quick question here from Emily Sykes. And Emily works in the real estate industry, which I've been playing around with a lot for the last couple of years. Now, her question to us is a big one, but we'll try and keep these really small and quite succinct. So, her question is tips for sleeping at night. Great question. We play around with the sleep hygiene and sleep patterns, mainly because that's a absolute vital time for us to downregulate and recover, especially from our mental tasks during the day. And of course, we do a very, very good job at sabotaging our sleep. So, in brief, we have patterns in the body and rhythms in the body, and our environment and our exposure creates these rhythms, in short. So our day pattern, our diurnal pattern, which is where I play a lot with my physiological markers, we look at how the body rises to the challenge and how it prepares itself for the day's tasks. The nighttime pattern, nocturnal patterns, are the ones where we look at your rest, recovery, and downregulation. So, how do you get better sleep? Well, let's start with the obvious. One is to make sure that we create the pattern of sleep. I know that sounds funny, but if we follow a routine and prepare ourselves for sleep and go to bed at the same time, the body will then go into, right, I know what's coming. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. If we go ad hoc, late nights, watching movies till 1, getting up, there is a knock-on effect where you don't sleep very well at night, you overstimulate during the day because you're tired, you can't sleep well at night, and here we go. Here's this horrible little cycle. So one thing I have to be clear on here is that getting one night's sleep doesn't cut it. This pattern occurs over time and is very, very much a routine-based benefit. So that's our night patterns. Day patterns are where we are sabotaging the night's sleep. Now, we will spend a lot of our time in the day trying to go 1,000 miles an hour. That's the environment we work in. What we then find is that as we get into the night time and we start to have more time back to reflect and we start to slow down, we start to go into mindsets like regret of the day and, what did I do and did I do enough and what will they think if I've done this? And of course, we then go into the anxiety state of tomorrow. Right, all that work I didn't do today has got to be done tomorrow. Right, I've got to make that call. God, what if they say that? And you're just creating this acceleration in the body. Now, that time of night, if we get to anywhere after your dinner time, tea time, you really should start to download and downregulate. This could look as something as simple as just giving yourself time to be bored. When was the last time you were bored? It's something we never really consider because it's a negative. If you're bored and you're doing nothing, then you're being wasteful and you're not being progressive enough and you're not allowing yourself to blah, blah, blah. It's just bullshit. So when you think about your evening patterns, preparing for bed, here's a couple of tips. One, the obvious one is protect the last hour before bed. Avoid stimulants, avoid social media. Please, I can't say it enough. I'm not blaming social media, but when we start to look at social media, our ego starts to kick in. That's another conversation, I'm afraid, but that ego giving us anxiety and fear and guilt and pride and all these other different emotions. So try avoid social media because it really creates that negative, unsatisfied loop. The other routine I try and get a lot of my clients into is the gratitude ritual. Now, that's not uncommon. Most people would have heard of it by now, surely. And I often just get some of these little they're called 5-minute journals. They're a brilliant little thing. It is a very simple routine that allows you to reflect on your day, to find the positives within your day. And that's, again, got to be brief on this, but your brain will automatically go to the mistakes you've made and what the negative things were from the day. It does this because that's the way the brain's wired. You think about what threatened me during the day, what do I need to be careful of, put that in the brain, process it, and then create that memory. Okay. What we have to do though is we have to try and change that pattern into what are the positive things that happened during your day? What did you do well? What could you improve on? Okay, nothing wrong with that. Once we start to look at these things, you actually change the way your brain pattern fires. And we often find that we don't drive ourselves into that anxious state, especially just before we go to bed. So I always recommend, that one's called the 5-minute journal, but journaling itself is a way in which we can unlock the day, find out what went well, reflect on what we might improve on. Again, nothing wrong with that, as long as we don't dwell on the negatives. And then this puts our brain into a nice calm state. What a great day I had. Thank you very much. And we can start to relax. Okay, there's a couple of tips. People often want to ask me about eating before bed or sleep hygiene, temperature of the room, position in the bed, things like that. Maybe that's another question. On that note, if you do have any more questions like this, thank you so much, Emily, for starting me off on my little stress question series. If you've got any questions, you can pop them in the comments below there, and give us a like, subscribe, and I look forward to your interactions. Any more feedback or anything you want to support Emily with a question, any more insights, then please feel free to make a comment. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye now.